a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC and Jib Jab greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. Your full AccuWeather forecast is always on top of your CNC local page. And just like that, candidates are in place for a special Monroe County Legislature election. Monroe County Republicans have their candidate to run for the county legislature seat being left vacant by Democrat Vinny Esposito. He's Dr. Joe Carbone, who lost to Esposito last fall for the seat representing the town of Irondequoit. Carbone announced at County Republican Party headquarters on Thursday, saying he'll give it another try since he doesn't have to wait another 4 years until he can run again. Esposito is resigning his seat to take an economic development job with Governor Cuomo's administration. A special election will be held this fall to fill the seat. Democrats also have a familiar face to run for the legislature seat. Former county legislator Stephanie Aldersley. She got the endorsement of Monroe County's Democratic Committee Thursday night. Carbone is a podiatrist with a practice in Irondequoit. He says he sees many seniors among his patients being taxed out of their homes, and he wants to work for fiscal responsibility and job creation. Aldersley currently sits on the Irondequoit Town Board and says if elected, she'll help Democrats provide oversight to the Republican-controlled legislature and county government. New York's anti-distracted driving law took effect 1 year ago, and more than 6 times as many tickets have been issued to Monroe County drivers for texting while driving since then. Governor Andrew Cuomo's office says all police agencies around New York issued more than 20,000 texting while driving tickets since the law took effect in July of 2011. That's 4 times more than in the previous 12 months. For Monroe County, the number was 687 tickets issued, over 110 the year before the ban on texting and driving took effect. For Ontario County, it's 87 tickets versus 8. For Livingston County, 50 tickets instead of 23. The law put in place last year makes it a primary traffic offense to use any handheld electronic device while driving. The penalty was boosted to 3 points on your license. The state cites research showing drivers using handheld devices, smartphones and tablets while they drive are 4 times more likely to have an accident, and that's equivalent to driving drunk. The staff of New York's Public Service Commission says both Rochester Gas and Electric and New York State Electric and Gas failed to adequately protect customers' confidential information from falling into unauthorized hands. The PSC received a staff report on a security breach at both utility companies. They reported in January that unauthorized parties had obtained access to confidential information of both NYSEG and RG&E customers, including social security numbers, dates of birth, and in some cases, people's banking information. According to the PSC findings, there's no evidence so far that any of this confidential information has been misused. PSC Chairman Gary Brown said both RG&E and NYSEG failed to meet industry standards for customer security. He said both companies are being directed to address the vulnerabilities of their computer billings and records system. DNA evidence has cracked a 32-year-old murder case in the city of Rochester. City police have charged a state prison inmate with the rape and murder of Mary Hull all the way back in 1980. Nat Lee Jones was arraigned on a charge of intentional murder and a charge of murder during the course of a rape or attempted rape. Jones, who pleaded not guilty, is a convicted serial rapist now serving 25 to 50 years in state prison for a string of attacks in the 1980s. He was found guilty of raping 12 women and girls at knife point in a crime wave that set northeast Rochester on edge. Mary Hull was a 74-year-old widow found dead in her apartment at 1 Laura Street on May 19, 1980. Prosecutor Tim Prosperi wouldn't talk about details of the case or about how DNA linked Jones to the murder. The connection was mentioned briefly in open court. Jones is scheduled back in court next week. The James P. Wilmot Cancer Center at Strong Memorial Hospital can now lay claim to being a complete cancer hospital in its own right with completion of a 4-story expansion. Donors, faculty members, and staff celebrated the project completion this week. The addition formally opens to patients later this month. The $60 million expansion began in 2010. Patients recovering from cancer surgery will stay there, all private rooms, as well as get all their treatments without having to travel around the Strong buildings. Strong says the Wilmot Center now becomes a comprehensive cancer hospital offering seamless inpatient and outpatient cancer care. On this page, you can find links to these and other stories. At the bottom, links to post your own news updates, sports, and salutes. Next news as it happens, updates when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.